day 23, brothers. On day 23, I'm feeling good. A little bit scrambled, but I feel good. I'm approaching my goal a week away. So that makes me feel happy. This hasn't been the cleanest week, but I still stayed strong in the face of a lot of temptation, a lot of difficulty. Still managed to maintain my streak, and I'm grateful for that. Just want to keep it pushing. Guys, I want to talk about how, that FOMO, it can really kick in at times. When you're locked in, you're gonna get the desire to want to experience more. You're gonna feel like you haven't experienced enough. You're gonna feel like there's certain things you could do. It's gonna make you want to jump away from this practice, especially if you didn't have a lot of experiences before hopping on SR. You're gonna feel like you're missing something, you're missing out on something, and it is true, there is something you're not having, you're not experiencing, but that thing, it comes with a lot of baggage. People always paint the pretty picture of all the crazy shit they do, whatever, all the crazy sex they have, the baddie that they dealt with, whatever. It's always the hype part they talk about. They don't talk about the traumatic sense that comes from overindulgence and sin, and why lust is so powerful is because the scripture says the one sin in which you're sinning against your own body. What do you think that means there, huh? What do you think that meant? Well, releasing your seed is sinning against your own body, destroying yourself. It's not the complete end of the world, because you can always recharge, but it messes you up over time. There's consequences, and you just got to accept that benefiting yourself and avoiding those consequences is always infinitely better than racking up the pain that comes with satisfying that immediate gratification every single time. In my life, I feel like I've had a lot of great experiences. Like, I'm grateful for the chance that I had to see certain things and feel certain things, experience certain moments, especially because, like I've stated, I didn't really grow up the way that I started living from probably around age 18 to 19. That was when I really started to actually farm experience in this life. I grew up, I was a relatively shy kid. I wasn't overly shy or anything, but I was relatively shy as a youngin'. But still, as a youth, I managed to get caught into lust, and I'm not just talking about like the hub or anything like that, like with actual girls, even as a young kid. And you don't really have anything to show for it. Like, yeah, people who hold that in high regard will give you your bragging rights. They'll give you your winning rights for accomplishing certain things, right? But you're not really accomplishing anything at the end of it. You just you're hurting yourself. And if you're doing it for the sake of competition, you're definitely hurting yourself, because if you don't want it, that's a whole other issue, right? I was on the side where I was just I was a bit overcharged as a youngin', and then when I really got, the ability to work my magic, I'll say, I'm actually gonna call it that, because it is pretty evil, and magic is evil. When I got to the age where I could do that, I overindulged because of the repression and the deprivation, right? I can only imagine some of you that are watching who may have never experienced certain things, and if you have the ability, or you're getting high on SR and you're starting to get attention, how easy it can be for you to indulge. And it's not to say that you're a bad person for that, but you're gonna have to almost take these words as fact that you're definitely gonna slip at certain points, and you're definitely gonna snowball when you get into certain situations. Everybody thinks they'll be locked in when in face of the big demon, but it's not as simple as it seems, you know. So that's why consistent dedication to this practice, consistent taking care of your state, it's important. I'm talking to myself here because it's some advice I need to take. I haven't been as focused on my state as I possibly can be. So going forward towards 30 days, that will be a priority. Because it's so easy for the devil to slip into your thinking and manipulate you into feeling like you ain't shit because you're not doing what everyone else is doing. You know, I went to a pretty big university for my schooling, and of course you hear all types of stories. In my first year, I heard all types of stories. Well, let me tell you guys a story that I don't think will be able to come back to me. In my first year of university, the first weekend of college, right? That first week, I just spent it kind of like meeting people. I was meeting people in classes and on campus. They had a whole ton of campus events. I remember I did this one event where like you shoot threes. They had a basketball court set up, and I saw it, so I just went into the line to shoot some threes. And then this girl like runs up behind me. This girl that has a bunch of classes with me, and she like body checked me in the line, and I turned around and I'm like, oh, it's you. So we started hanging out for the whole day. This was on the Wednesday of this week, right? And then we started like becoming friends, properly friends. And I liked her. I thought she was cool, and I thought she was pretty cute. But at that time, I was like, I didn't want to overindulge with girls at school, and I also did not want my reputation to be that guy that was sleeping around with girls, right? I just met this chick, and she's the type of girl that easily has a lot of guy friends, right? But it was very obvious to me and the people around us, I should say, that I was the guy that she wanted. And in fact, she was quite literally telling people that. Like, I had another friend who was, during first year, was probably my closest friend, and one time we were all chilling in like a student lounge, and then I had to leave. I had to go for a lab, so I left the room. And then later we meet back up, me and this friend, and he's telling me that as soon as I left, she was talking about me nonstop. Everyone was talking about who they wanted to get with, right? It's the first week of school. This is how these people think, guys. Everyone was talking about who they wanted to get with, and she just kept bringing my name up, right? Then that Friday, I was chilling with one of my homies who doesn't go to my college, but he lives in that town. And she hits me up and asks me to come to a party she's throwing at her dorm. So I show up, and dude, the whole night was just her trying to get me plastered and trying to get me to sleep over. And she was almost successful, but I pivoted it to like just going on a date with her later on. I ended up not even going on that date, but she was trying to pull me into this. You're gonna feel pulled into it. And it was a tough temptation for me at the time because I wasn't highly experienced then, right? But after I let this opportunity go, I was getting a lot of like, bro, you fumbled from my friends. They were like, yo, you fumbled, like you should have handled that. Yo, if you're not gonna play, pass the controller, you know what I mean? And I just let that get into my head. I let that peer pressure, that mentality that they carried, I let it affect my state. I let it affect my frame. I let them poke at my frame. And some words led me to focus more on my desires and why I wasn't satisfying them, so to speak. And so look, throughout that year, I started focusing on satisfying, and I did some things, and I'm not proud of them. And you're not going to gain anything from it. The only thing I have to show for it is the memory of what I did. But like everything that transpired from a lot of the things I did, like, made it not worth it, So just remember that. Like, that's the illusion, is what you get in that immediate moment. But after the fact, the effects of it can pile up very quickly. All of it can stack, and it can just mirror back to you in a way that you did not want and you did not expect. That's a scary and beautiful thing about the shadow, man. It's like everything you do, it accumulates, and then it just reflects. And when it reflects back to you, you're forced to stare into either some clear blue waters, or you're forced to stare into a dark abyss. And I've had to look into a dark abyss a couple times to learn my lesson. So for all you guys out there that are getting that FOMO, don't have it, man. Stay locked in. Like, you're gonna win. You're gonna be the alpha male if you stay on your P's and Q's. Like, what do you really want out of this life? Do you just want experiences with nothing to show for it? Or do you want something built that will stay built long after you're gone? Something built that will be a testament, a silent testament to your greatness and the power of your God behind you. You know, when people in the Bible did great things, those around them would recognize, like, oh, he has the Spirit of God within him, right? That's what people should be saying about you, you know. And I hear more of that now in my life than I ever did, and especially at that time when I was being a goofball, man. So learn from my mistakes. Learn from my mistakes and go even higher than I could. If you're a young guy and you're about to enter one of those fields, and you know you're true to yourself on what you want and what you want to accomplish, and you know what you need to do to get there, including this practice, dude, stick to the path, right? I sure as hell wish I did. And everything will be sorted out for you. Everything's going to fall into place. Trust your life force. Trust the Spirit. It will guide you. So what I have for you guys on day 23. I'll see you on day 24.